Waiting for a night salad?
Sure. No, you just press the button.
Pocket. Awesome. I'm not that late. Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry for being late. Are you here for the VTubing panel?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with this. We're a very enthusiastic crowd, I see. Hello, my name is Little Miss Houndoom. I am a British VTuber on Twitch and YouTube, and this is Hasha Brown, who is also a British VTuber on Twitch and.
Hello.
Hello. So we started VTubing around the pandemic starting time, give or take, like a year ago.
Yeah, just over a year.
Yeah. So today we are here to answer your questions about the wonderful world of VTubing, how to get into it, or anything you want to ask about content creation. Does that sound good with you guys?
Hey.
Yay!
Awesome. So I'm a Pokemon VTuber on the internet. I primarily play Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. Surprising, isn't it? And Hashi, you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am what is considered a PNG tuber.
Ooh.
I don't have an official rigged model, but that's something that you can do.
It is. So there is a lot of different types of VTubing out of there. There is PNG, as Hasha said, which is essentially a couple of static or GIF images. You can make them move, how Hasha does, that you can use. And basically all that a VTuber is a virtual avatar that you use on whatever content you are making. So obviously I do live streaming, and then I whack those live streams on YouTube. So yeah, that's one type. There's live 2D, which is essentially 2D art that then gets rigged by someone, and then it all tracks your movements. And then of course there's 3D VTubing, right?
Mhm.
That's the one. So that's like Vroid and stuff like that. You get movement, you have arms, you can turn them. It's quite magical, honestly. So yeah, if you guys have any questions at any point you want to ask us about VTubing and whatnot, then just raise your hand and we will answer them about whatever. I'll send someone who is part of my team, I'm sure, with a microphone at you. I don't know where my team has gone.
Do we have a spare?
No, one was alright, it's fine. We got this,
There's
we
just
got
two.
this.
Okay, we'll have to give one up.
Yeah. So VTubing is obviously relatively new-ish. Not that many years around, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's only got popular in probably last 5, maybe even last 3 years, and then it kind of had an explosion around 2020, and especially over pandemic times, people needed something to do, and that was something that people got into, and something that was a lot of content for people to watch. So
Yeah, it was. And being a VTuber is a whole different kind of life. For me, it was I could basically be in cosplay without spending all the money on makeup, and that was kind of a benefit to me because I really wanted to include cosplay into my streaming, but I didn't want to have to look pretty every day.
yeah, because you were just a regular streamer before.
Yeah, I streamed on and off. I remember having just dance-offs with the SunnyCon staff between our 2 Twitch channels. There was a lot of Rasputin, a lot of it. I never want to dance that song and just dance again, honestly. There was so much of that. But yeah, I started off as a normal stream, with cams and everything. I then decided, I was actually having a lot of jaw problems, so I chose to, I didn't really want to be on screen while a lot of stuff was being done to my face. So I made a Vroid model, it's a free software you can get on Steam, and you can just play around with it. It is a lot better now, by the way. Back then, if you needed horns like my character has, you had to make them out of hair. It is very weird making horns out of hair. They're very flat in a 3D model, and I don't know, it goes a bit skew-whiffy all over the place. But I started out with that, and then after a certain point, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this VTubing thing. I actually really enjoy being a character, and then I commissioned an artist to do a live 2D of me, and that's kind of how I started in VTubing. I started as a Vroid and then moved on to a live 2D, and I've kind of stuck on live 2D ever since then, because I don't know, I just quite enjoy the art style of it. I have a couple of forms too, so you don't ever have to just stick on one model. I have 2 models that I currently use. One looks pretty much like this, but it's drawn, and the other one is literally a dog. So it's a dog with a fringe, and I use that one a lot. And Hasher is a dinosaur boy that looks very much like he came from One Piece.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, you do look like you came from One Piece. Yeah, does anyone have any questions they want to ask, or should I just carry on talking about this marvelous world of VTubing? Ooh, question, let's go.
Hi. You mentioned that you were streaming before you started VTubing. Did you also have kind of a content creation background before you started VTubing?
Kind of. I had a YouTube channel a couple of years ago. It was taking off, and then unfortunately my whole setup broke, and I basically took a year off. And then when I basically discovered VTubers, I created a completely new account and started from the ground up. So yeah, I had some experience, which definitely helped, but didn't have like an existing platform, really.
Yeah, I find it really funny though. I technically started as a PNG tuber, but had no idea VTubers were a thing. I did YouTube videos about Pokemon, laughing at its glitches and sillier, messier sides, and I had a little like sprite character of me drawn up that I would then lip sync with different facial expressions and mouth flaps to make the content and do the script, because I didn't really like being on camera that much, surprisingly. So that's technically where I started, but it looks kind of just like me. It was very much just a cartoon of myself, as opposed to deciding to move over to more of a character, which obviously with VTubing I think is really interesting to point out this. Like some people go for like full-on characters, like the full voice acting, the whole shebang, they've got this whole world and lore, and then other people, you can go the complete opposite direction and just be a kind of character of yourself essentially, and just be a little version of yourself that you use on streams. It is kind of whatever you want it to be, but it is very fascinating being in the world of YouTubing in that kind of sense, because when I started out I didn't have like a character concept. Like don't think you have to have like this character that you know all your lore. I don't know what my lore is. It's been a year, I still don't know what my lore is. I can turn into a dog, I don't know why, but I can do that. It's kind of where you go with VTubing. You can pretty much take it anywhere, but I see a lot of people say, hey, I want to get into VTubing, but I just don't know where to start. Do I need to flesh out my entire character? If you think that, no, you can literally just draw a character and be like, this is me, and then you can change it, because I changed the V-Roid like every other week because I couldn't settle on what my design was for that initial starting point. I was just like, I want to be a Houndoom, but I don't know how Houndoomy I want to be. I was like,
I think like one of the biggest lessons like a lot of VTubers learn is that your character kind of evolves with you as you like try stuff out, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's very interesting because I think parts of my character bleed into my actual personality now. Now, it's a bit weird, and I understand this might sound strange, but my chat community like to call me a dommy mummy. I'm very much not that kind of person, but my character is. But now everyone this weekend has been like, you've got dommy mummy energy, and I'm like, oh shiz, it's bled into me. I've become more anime. It's slowly bleeding into my life more and more. Although, fun story for you, I play a dog character on the internet. I'm a Houndoom. I do dog champ licks instead of pog champs on Twitch, which is kind of my thing. We'll give a little dog lick. It does turn out it will bleed into a little more, because my mum was like, needed something from the supermarket. I was like, I'll run off and go get it. And then I whiffed at her and ran off in the middle of the supermarket. So, you know, you can do that. You might get strange looks, but you can do that. You can do whatever you like. But yeah, how many of you guys in the room have already done some form of VTubing, be it you've had a PNG or that? Only the VTubers I know over in that corner. Hello. Alright, a few minutes. How many of you guys are interested in getting into VTubing and want to give it a shot? Oh, a lot of hands. May I ask, how many of you feel like you just don't have a clue where the starting point is or how any of this kind of thing works? Alrighty then, we're going to take it right back to basics then about how we started, because we have two very different reasons. Now, Hasha does the art for himself. He drew all of them. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about how you went for yours and where you started. Like, what did you start out at with first? Did you think of a character, or did you just kind of draw up some stuff and go, yeah, I like that, I'll keep that?
Yeah, pretty much. I just kind of followed my heart, I guess, when I came to do my character. I didn't have anything in mind, and just like put pen to paper and then just, you know, kept changing stuff until I liked it. And I didn't have like a huge hang up on like needing to have everything perfect to start, and I think that's a huge lesson that people definitely need to take on if you want to like get into it. There's no reason that you need to have like a fully like fleshed out rigged model character. You don't need to spend like sometimes thousands of pounds that people spend on these like really obviously beautiful like models that they used to stream with. But if you're just jumping into it, just getting your feet wet, you don't need to do that at all, because you don't know if you're gonna like it yet.
Yeah, like I think our best advice for starting out is honestly go with a PNG. Like you can commission it off of someone and just make sure you get like two, so you get a mouth closed and a mouth open to give it some movement. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. You can make it look a lot more interesting. But I really would recommend starting out with just a reactive PNG, basically, one that moves when your mouth, like, obviously makes sound and can light up and bob. But I very much recommend starting there because it's not gonna cost an arm and a leg to make that. Like, if you can draw, you could make it yourself, or there's things like Pit Crew and that, which you can make them on as well. Like,
yeah, you had to be careful with Pit Crew, because a lot of them have terms that say not for commercial use.
But there's a lot of places where if you can just get a basic artwork going, you can start there, see if it's for you, because like I know people that have, my rigger has told me about this a million times. She has done loads of models where the people have spent like £2,000 to get this model drawn and made. They use it for one stream, don't really like it, and then never touch it again, and it's just a waste of money and resources. So if you do want to like dip your toes into VTubing, then definitely go for a PNG and use that for a little bit and see where you can go. Because it also, don't ever feel like, by the way, that you will be limited by just being a PNG. I'm Twitch partner, Hasha's on the point of just waiting for applications to come back. Like, you can get there off of that. You don't have to have a big fancy rig to achieve goals you might want to do with streaming or content creation. You can get there off of PNG. Because a lot of what carries VTubing, I think, is the personality and life you kind of give to your character. So people aren't going to look at you less for not having a really big, expensive rig or any of that kind of stuff at all. So don't
And
be
if they
afraid.
do, they're not your friend.
Yeah, if they do that, they're kind of stinky, and we don't really like that. But I didn't really know what I was doing when I started out with VTubing. I literally just went, I like Houndoom, and I kind of approached it how I approach cosplay. I do a lot of Pokemon Gajinka, that's normally my main style. I do like kind of Pokemon meets Monster Hunter. But when I went with VTuber, I was like, oh, I don't want to be like full armor and all this stuff. Because I was using this thing that you couldn't do that stuff on. Remember how I had to make horns out of hair? Yeah, I also had to make a tail out of hair. It was really weird and awkward. You don't have to do that anymore, by the way, on the free software. You can just have tails and ears and that, and horns. You can just make those now, which is really, really great. But yeah, I had no idea where I was starting out. I was just like, I'm gonna make a base kind of concept of how I would. I was like, all right, it's a hellhound. I'm gonna have that kind of aesthetic to me and very much focused in on that. But as it's evolved, like we've been VTubing together for like a year now, across 2 different channels and multiple things. And I think the lore has been building itself as well, which is really interesting. Because apparently we own a fortress together, like a big giant castle in hell, yeah, which is connected to other parts of other VTubers' worlds as well, apparently.
Yep.
And it's just like, it'll flesh itself out. But yeah, start with a PNG is really what that conversation was about. I think that's like a nice, easy way to go. Or if you want to play around with VRoid, do that. But I think you can really test it out and kind of get to grips.
And there's so many like free resources that you can get. VRoid is one, and like you can learn it yourself if you want to, or you can like pay someone to like do a really professional looking VRoid these days.
Yeah, getting kind of nuts.
There's lots of like very cheap resources as well. Like one thing that you can do is you can find a pre-made live 2D model, which is just free for anyone to buy. Like they're usually around like $30, $50 or something, which is pretty goddamn cheap if you just want to like have something and try it out for yourself. They're usually fairly customizable as well, like to a certain point. But if you want to try out like live 2D or something, that's a really good resource to take a look at. And you know, the number one thing is like trying something out before you fully commit to it, because there's especially back in the boom like a year and like 2 years ago, there were so many people that saw VTubing and thought it was like the golden ticket to like get big. And for some it was, but for so many more people it's not. And it really does depend on like how you come across as a person and with your content and stuff. I know of quite a few people who spent like thousands on a really professional looking model, and then like as you say, they did like 1 or 2 streams and then they went, man, this is tough and it's not for me, so I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, I will say, VTubing is not the golden ticket you might hope it is. Like, some people genuinely do think it will just make them instantly popular. You are in a incredibly saturated market as soon as you start into VTubing. There's so many. Like, we primarily do a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, and Master Duel is like obviously quite a big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. It's the newest game that came out. The amount of VTubers who play Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel is insane. Like, we have ran 2 16-player VTuber tournaments twice now in the last 3 months for charity, and we've had like 28 plus different VTubers on it just on that alone. And then there's still a long list of ones that want to work with us on like that.
And when you
thing.
think about it, that's a very niche group, VTubers who play Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And we know of at least 50. So when you think of like the wider scope, there's so many.
It is a very saturated market. But if you want to play a character or you want to be, you know, an anime person, essentially, if you want to inject an anime straight into your veins and literally be the anime, then you know, you can do that, and it's totally fine. But once you have decided down that you do want to VTube and you want to invest it, which is totally fine, I'm going to say, don't ever think you have to have everything ready. Like, I have only just got the Fortress of Duel drawn up, and it's been a year. It took me a year to get a background for us for this one event that we successfully did every month, and it's only just got a background. Like, a lot of the time, this is just content creation in general as well, I see a lot of people hold themselves back and go, oh, well, I don't want to do this until, you know, I've done this because I want it to be perfect. And I'm like, it doesn't need to be perfect. A big thing in the VTubing space is debuting, essentially.
Yeah. It's
a really big deal. And what a debut is essentially a big stream to go, hey, look at my new shiny thing. Please look at my shiny thing. Seriously, look at the shiny thing. It's shiny. That's basically what a debut is. I didn't actually do them, like, because you can soft debut, which is where you kind of turn up on other people's streams and you show off the model a little bit, but it's not like no big shebang event. But debuting isn't necessarily a necessity, but I didn't do it when I first did the V-Roid, but I did for my life 2D. But Asher, did you ever like do a proper debut or anything, or did you just kind of start streaming?
Yeah, I mean, I just started streaming. I did do a redesign around, what was it, September last year.
I did a redesign around September last year. Like that.
Yeah,
and
I did like a kind of like a debut, but I didn't like call it that because I was also like on vacation for 2 weeks before that, so it was kind of like a oh, I'm back now, and also I look like this, and it was good, but like debut culture is very fun in like the VTuber space. It's very cool to like, you know, show off all this new stuff, but a lot of people that do debuts get very disappointed when all of the interaction that they get surrounding the debut kind of like falls off afterwards, and it sucks, right? Because you've like put a whole bunch of work into this, but no one's gonna be like as hyped up for like the stuff after the debut, and that's the real key, is like holding an audience, and that's just like, that's the bottom line for content creation in general, right?
Absolutely.
And like what you said before, like waiting to like be perfect at it before you put anything out there, it just doesn't work.
No, it
like if you go back through like any popular like YouTuber, and like back through their channel, like depending on how long they've been around, you go back 8 years and watch some of their old stuff, they sucked back then. And you have to go through the period of where you suck at it, but you learn from sucking. Don't take that out of context.
R18 slapped on immediately.
But yeah, what I really want to encourage is don't hold yourselves back. We essentially gatekeep ourselves a lot. I've definitely done it with like VTubing. I didn't, for the longest time, I would not call myself a VTuber when I started streaming this one. I met Hasher and then I met the whole VTubing community, and I was still like, yeah, I'm not a VTuber. It's like, you're an anime character on the internet. I'm not a VTuber though, am I? Oh, I'm not me. And they're like, no, you're a VTuber. I was like, nah, not me, because I didn't feel like I'd done the work. I made a V-Roid and I was like, well, I haven't done the same work as those people who've got nice fancy models. And I held myself back, like legitimately for like 6 months until I debuted. I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not a VTuber. And it took me the longest time. But I'm gonna make a very firm stance that if you have an avatar as your representation on your streams or your content, you are a VTuber. Welcome to the VTubing space, enjoy the anime. That's pretty much how that goes. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask? Because we can go, oh, yay, questions. Okay, I'm going to run. Hashi, you get to answer. Let's go.
Okay.
What is the base minimum for a rig that you would require to start VTubing?
Like the reactive PNG.
A rate? Like.
A rig, like.
Oh,
the
like
setup.
a PC rig.
Like
a
the
rig.
PC setup.
No, like a PC setup.
You have to make sure that it can run OBS Studio. You have to make sure that you run whatever content that you're going to do. That is usually like the game that you're playing, or that's usually what it is, right? Like some people do like just chatting content, and that's like a lot less performance intensive. And then other than that, if you're using a rigged model, you have to be able to also run VTube Studio, is that the one? Or whichever one the 3D one is. VC Face, that's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few things to do. I will warn you guys, I did the charity stream a couple of months back, and I had like 18 VTubers. And I thought it'd be a freaking genius idea, right? That I got everything set up all neat, ready to go. So we'd have 2 of them on at a time, on top of the like 3 of us that were on screen hosting. And I thought I'd load up. So you use a thing called like OBS Ninja, which basically you can put whatever software you use to do your like character as, you can use it as a webcam. And then basically just give that and they plug it in as a browser source in their like stream setup and it can go. I thought it'd be genius if I had everyone pre-set up and ready to go. I completely bricked my PC, like straight up. I built a nice like £3,000 rig. Yeah, no, totally bricked it. So if you're using a bunch of VTuber models, it's surprisingly intensive on your PC.
Obviously, that's not like the base of what you need to have.
Don't try. Just don't put 18 VTubers on a screen and hope for the best. It's not going to work out. It is going to brick your PC.
Yeah.
But I just bought a laptop so I could transport my streaming with me and go and stream while I'm in different countries and such. And I kind of just looked at having a pretty good GPU on it and a decent amount of RAM and I prefer AMD processors because I'm a weird chap like that. So you don't necessarily need anything too expensive, just as long as it can handle sort of what you want to do. And
I don't have a very powerful PC at all, but I don't need to because I'm just doing PNG tubing, which is not very like resource intensive, and the games that I usually play are Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, which are also like really low down. But if you want to run a model, run an OBS Studio, and then play something like Elden Ring, you know, you're going to need something pretty powerful to handle all of that. Oh, and good internet. You need
you might need good internet. That's a good one. And I will say for microphones as well, a base level, like a 50 quid microphone, you can make sound amazing with just putting like some EQ on it and some noise reduction and all that stuff, like a noise gate. There's a bunch of stuff within your broadcasting softwares if you're doing this for streaming that you can just put onto your microphone and it will be really hard to hear the difference of it, really. Like, there's obviously a difference between like a 400 quid like Shure SM7B and a 40 quid Blue Yeti. I recently discovered that when I plugged my old microphone that I started streaming on and I was like, oh no, get out of here, you're going in the box. But you don't have to do anything too powerful. Like I've got a laptop that can run it all, but I know when I use that, I prefer to use my slightly less graphically intensive model because the human form tends to take more than the dog form, which is a much simpler rig. So I tend to use that. And then I just kind of level it up as you go. Like, you can do it on a laptop. We know someone, they're called Preston McDonald. They have about like 6 or 7 different models that they toggle between while they're streaming. A bunch of like toggles basically which change like hand expressions and facial expressions and that. They are running that all off a PC. They've bricked it numerous times, but they are pushing their PC to the limit like this laptop. But they have managed to do a heck of a lot off of a basic laptop. Like, it's actually kind of impressive. So don't be too ham at all. I say upgrade as you go along. Like when you get that first Twitch payout and you get to buy an upgrade to your kit, it feels amazing. Like I remember the first time I got to do that and I was like, yeah, I get to level up this my content and make it a little bit more like I wanted. Alright, I'm gonna boot to questions. Alright, do you have one? Yay!
So obviously when you're first getting started, you're both Twitch streamers, but choosing your platform is an incredibly important thing. Obviously, the big streaming platforms being YouTube and Twitch. What do you see is the best way of choosing between the two, and why maybe you chose Twitch over streaming on YouTube?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
I think originally, before when I started choosing to do streaming, YouTube wasn't quite the same culture. I think there's like two very different cultures because I do run both.
That's the
YouTube
big
and
thing.
Twitch. Yeah. So like Twitch culture is you raid into each other, you can give subs, you're very, very active as a community, you're very, very interactive. And YouTube didn't have any of those features. It didn't have like sub emotes, or you couldn't gift subs or anything. There was no raiding. You just kind of went live and then you just kind of ended. You couldn't push your crowd on. But something I really love about Twitch is like, I'm having like an amazing like Yu-Gi-Oh stream, you know, like 400 people there, all having a vibe, and I'm like, oh shit, Ash is on, and I'm like, let's raid into him, and you just kind of can bombard people with like a big positive energy burst of people, and I really loved that about Twitch. And it was just like a whole different culture and kind of attitude towards it. But YouTube is now very quickly gaining all these features. It's just got the ability to give subscriptions, basically like super subs and that to it. It's got the raid feature now. You can raid each other on YouTube. So realistically, it's what you kind of prefer doing. Like I would say one of the things to consider on Twitch, no discoverability. They're trying out something new right now, which might make the browsing a little bit easier for people to see other content creators, but the discoverability on Twitch is pretty near the bottom. Like unless you are topping a category or in like the top 10, you're very rarely going to get noticed, which can be really rough. And also leads like to a decision when you're streaming games, and especially if you're doing variety, you have to be like, what category do I put this under? Like say I'm playing Pokemon Red and Blue, and we're doing like our Soul Link series that we do. We have to choose whether we go under the game Red and Blue, or whether we go under Retro. When we go into Retro, suddenly we're competing with a lot more people for attention. If we go in Red and Blue, we know we've got the numbers to get in that top 10 and be seen playing the game. So you end up having to consider that. Whereas on YouTube, I'm not sure what the discoverability is like for streaming. I think it's pretty weird.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I don't like browse YouTube for streaming, but YouTube is catching up real quick with Twitch. Like when I started, I just started on Twitch because that was the streaming site, right? Yeah, YouTube is closing the gap real fast, and the really good thing that I like about YouTube streaming is that once the stream is over, it becomes a video on your channel, and you just naturally create a backlog, which is something that's really good to have.
Yeah, one of the big things I like to tell people is if you are choosing Twitch as your platform, you will have to capitalize on every other platform you can to get seen. So like realistically, I would say you want to use YouTube and Twitch kind of hand in hand. Like you want to stream on Twitch, but if you can take some of that content from your Twitch, even if it's just a 30-second clip, and you can smash that up on a YouTube, you will get passive following.
Or TikTok.
On TikTok. TikTok is insanely good for this kind of stuff. Like that is one of the easiest ways to get views. Or like Twitter and that. And there's a lot of stuff you can multi-use, so you can put a clip up, and if you do it in the right aspect ratio, you can bump it up on like all 3 platforms, and just ta-da, you've got a clip out there, and a bunch of people could see you. Because the discoverability on Twitch was really weird. I started out as like a streamer with like 10 average viewers, and now we're like, you know, Twitch partner, we've got 100 odd average viewers, and sort of managed to push ourselves up. But it's hugely in part to a YouTube video that took off and got a lot of attention, and then it just passively grew my channel and sort of bled into each other, and it's become a very nice little cycle for it. So if you do make content, utilize other platforms. You find a funny clip that you've done, whack it up on Twitter. Like the more people seeing you, the better. I know someone who would not post on TikTok because they're like, well, it's only going to get 100 views, why should I edit? And I was like, there's 100 extra people that have just seen your content and might come over and follow you. Don't keep yourself like that. I don't care for TikTok. I've got like 40,000 followers on TikTok. I can post a video that only gets like a few hundred views at best, but it's still a few hundred extra people seeing my content, which is kind of the thing I would warn with content creation. Actually being able to have that kind of positive spin on how you look at things as well. It can be very draining on Twitch. Like if you start streaming on Twitch and your goal is partner, I've recently been through the horror that is partner application. If you're in the UK, have fun waiting absolutely months to hear back from them every application, because I think they took 46 or 47 days or something to reply to a single application I sent, which is kind of nuts. So
yeah, I
but
think
only in
it
the UK.
took them 37 days to get back to my first application, and they say that they only take 2 weeks. So.
Don't believe them, they're lying to you.
They're just on vacation a lot, I think.
Yeah. I've named him Steve. Steve reads like one application a day and then goes and gets ice cream to pat himself on the back for reading that one application. In about 2 weeks' time, he might watch one of the videos to justify whether he thinks they're good or not. Then he realizes we're VTubers and we're licking people on the internet as part of our thing, and then he's like, yeah, no, get out of here. Yeah, is there any other questions? Ooh,
We had that one there before, right?
Do you want to go this way?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going this way. Sorry.
Do you remember your first VTuber stream and what was it like?
Asha, do you remember your first stream?
I do
as a
remember my
VTuber?
first stream,
Whoa.
yeah. I remember I joined a European VTubers community, which was really convenient timing because it was like a Discord group that got set up the day before I was planning on doing my first stream. So very lucky timing. I had everything ready to go. I put a little message in the Discord saying, hey, I'm doing my first stream ever as a VTuber. Come check it out if you want to and let me know how things are. And I had like 5 people come and take a look, and it was so cool. And some of those people that came that day still watch like to this day, which is like really cool. What about you?
That says everything, doesn't it, really? I don't remember my first stream as a VTuber. I remember the first like debut stream I did. It was really funny. So I don't know whether this was because there's more anime, but I was like super family friendly and like say so when I started streaming. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna swear, because I worked on radio prior to this, so I was like, no, I'm gonna be good and like kind of do what Nintendo wants. Like being a Houndoom, probably should behave a little bit. I completely lost that, and it pretty much went downhill after I got my first full VTuber model. Yeah. Now they call me a dummy mommy and a lot of other things on the internet. So yeah, that was a slippery stuff.
I think it's easier to get people to like you when you're like more yourself. There are some really talented streamers out there who can keep up like the character like for hours on end, but if it's too different to you, it takes so much to like keep it up.
There are some really insane ones, like Cabal is really, really good. Like Cab is great. I don't know. How many of you guys watch VTubers on Twitch in general? I'm seeing like hands there. Yeah, get them raised. Shout out some VTubers that you watch. I'm very curious about this question.
Shy Lily.
Oh, yeah, Shy Lily. Did Shy Lily murder us in a crab game collab? And then just kind of went womp and left, and I was like, oh, I'm dead. What do you need?
Oh, Beryl.
Who's on?
Ronnie.
Oh.
Iron Mouse.
I'm Mouse, good.
Yeah.
I'm Mouse, all the big ones.
Yourself.
No.
Myself, hey! You're the MVP right now. That is me. Did I hear a talker as well?
Nox Talker.
Nox talker.
Nux,
Yeah.
Talker here.
Talker over here. Oh, classic. The classic. We're going to talk about Talker ever since he did the Smash and Ground incident on my stream. We have to talk about it. He doesn't exist to me anymore. No, it's a joke. I did a charity stream. I brought Talker Harder 101 from, he used to do Team 4-Star. He became a VTuber. He's a VTuber bartender. That's actually how I found out about VTubing, was through him. We brought him on the charity stream, and we let him play Yu-Gi-Oh! With us. And I was like, oh, he doesn't know how to play the game. I'll go easy on him. He beats me the first one because I throw a little bit. I don't press the yes button to activate the trap that wins. And I'm like, alright, he's won one game, he's feeling pretty happy with himself. Alright, now I can go hard. And he just uses Smash and Ground, and I just lose, and I was like, oh shit, I actually just lost a Talker live in front of loads of people.
With a tutorial.
Yeah, that's the best thing. Then he was like, I haven't played the game, I just kind of logged in and used the starting deck, and we were like, wait, what? And he's like, then we looked at the deck, and he used the tutorial deck and beat me, and I'm a pro duelist sponsored by Konami. Just needed to know that. Yeah, I'm not ever living that one down. So now we don't talk to him, because we then brought him on a stream later on, and he's become like skill drained to me at this point. Like he came on stream and suddenly I was shit at Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, what is going on here? And it's consistent now. So yeah, we don't talk about a button. He doesn't exist because I want to be able to summon something and not get beaten up by smashing ground. Which, by the way, is actually a weakness to every single deck I run. Who knew? It's a habit now. It's a trend. You want to run around and choose the next question?
Sure.
Do I do the steppy step? Do a
it's
little
not one
steppy
of
step.
that.
Yeah. Run to the back. Run, hamster. Oh, he's running. Let's go. See, it's weird because we're in person right now and we're 3D and I'm not really sure what to do because I'm used to being 2D and I can move him around the screen by choice. I don't have this power.
So I make my own models and stuff, and I was thinking of maybe selling to some other people or VTubers. I know like facial rigging and full body tracking and stuff like that. But what are some of the other things that VTubers might want in models and etc. that I could consider putting in?
Toggles. We want the jillions of toggles. We want literally so many that I need like 3 keyboards to run my model perfectly. No, toggles are great. I have a few arm toggles on my model. I would love to have more like outfit toggles are always good. Or even just different like hairstyles are pretty good. Like those are very helpful toggles to have. I don't really have those. I'm still waiting on my maid outfit. Working on it. We'll get there. Takes a while, by the way. Do expect things to take a while when you're buying stuff for your model. Like if you want an upgrade, like unless you've got a really insanely like fast artist, you'll be waiting a few months because their backlog is insane. But Passion, what do you think? What do you think things people want in a model are?
I don't know. I think you got like the basics down. Like the facial rigging is really impressive when done well. Like you said, like props and like outfit toggles. Are
I got it.
really
The most perfect one.
Yeah.
A tongue toggle. That's what you need. You guys might sound like that's weird, but when I go up to a model artist and I'm like, hi there, I'd like to commission you for a model. Okay, what do you need? Right, well I need this outfit, I need this hairstyle. Anything else? Right, I need it to be able to stick its tongue out and lick things. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I need it to stick its tongue out and lick things. Are you sure you need that? Look, if I don't have that, I'm going to get murdered through the internet, I assure you. Dog champ licks are a thing. I genuinely have to have tongue tracking on all of my models. Even the little dog one, I didn't have to tell them. They were like, yeah, I saw your dog champ licks. I put a tongue toggle in. It actually tracks your tongue. So, you know, whenever you see me on stream do a dog champ lick, please know I have to lick the air every time I do that. Please know that you will have to do that.
I didn't know that.
Every dog champ lick, I had to be like, there you go. I look absolutely insane to my neighbors. But like, yeah, stuff like that. I love when it tracks really well like that and can follow those things. Like, face tracking is pretty important. That's another thing I don't really point out very much to people VTubing. But I remember I was having like a call with Darker and he's like, please excuse my over-exaggerating eyebrows right now while I'm talking to you IRL. It's just because I VTube. And I was like, alright, you're insane, dude. That's you move your eyebrows. I now VTube. I over-emote everything. Just like I was in supermarkets. Who knew? You will have to like pull a lot of facial expressions. You can up the tracking a bit, but a lot of the facial expressions you see on VTubers are actually them pulling it IRL to make the expressions, which is pretty fun. I like that a lot, but also I have to lick the air a lot. So. But yeah, really just getting good rigging down, like top tier rigging. Like sometimes you see rigging and it's very stiff and it feels kind of bad. Like you definitely don't want to do too stiff of rigging. Also don't be afraid to tell your rigger if you want stuff changing. Like I have noodle arms right now, they might need to be a little bit firmer. I got super noodle arms. They wave all over the place when I move. It's very cool. Do we want to have another question? Does anyone have questions? We have questions! Hasha, take your pick. Who's the lucky winner today?
I saw this one.
Alright, well, good job.
So, when you used to be a facecam streamer, then you went to being a VTuber. Did you keep the same Twitch account? Did you make a new one? And how did your community respond to all of that?
That was fun. So I used to go under my actual name. I don't know if any of you guys might have recognized me from previous Sunny Cons under the name E. Allen Cosplay, which is who I used to be. But then I decided I didn't want to use my name, and so I became a character. When I did the rebranding, on Facebook I lost 10,000 followers because I changed my name. And people were like, who the hell are you? But overall, like, I had one person go, VTubing is the worst decision you've ever made. People will be a bit iffy with it. Like, I know a few people who've looked at wanting to become VTubers whose community is like, I don't want to watch a VTuber, I don't want to watch an anime character. And people are like, oh, this is weird, I don't want to watch it. What are you hiding? That was my favorite one. The person who was like, why have you become a VTuber? I've got jaw surgery going on, don't really want to show my face. What are you hiding? Jaw surgery? But what are you hiding? Literally jaw surgery, dude, I've just explained it. It's like, I don't like that you've got a secret, I can't watch your Twitch streams now. I'm like, okay then, neat. That person then later refused to serve me in a supermarket because I've got secrets I'm hiding.
Oh.
It was really weird. Yeah, they're pretty chill, honestly. Most people, you'll lose a few people when you rebrand. If you are changing anything, like, you will drop people off who were maybe there for the original content. But I think with content creation, just as a whole, it's always a new group of people cycling in. You'll have your regulars who commit and stick through for everything, but it's just new cycles, like, and it can go really fast. Like, if you think when you're streaming, you suddenly get 1,000 followers in a month, that is a lot of new people circling through your stream. And so the community has shifts a lot of the time. But yeah, they were pretty chill, and most people were pretty alright, except for that one guy who really did think I was hiding something.
I think these days, like, it's 2022 and VTubers are kind of like a lot more mainstream now, so it's not really that much of a shift. If like you have been doing face cam stuff and you want to try out VTubing,
Yeah.
like it's not as weird now because everyone knows what a VTuber is.
Yeah, and I think everyone's done it in like some form or another, like has used a cartoon representation of themselves or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to unify themselves at some point. But it's pretty fun. I do know people who are and ahed about the Switch, and I'm like, if you're and ah about it, just give it a little go. But you can kind of do whatever you want. If you want to make a whole new character, go ham. Like, I don't think I would ever have the balls to go through Twitch Partner again. It was pretty stressful, so I don't think I would do that again. But sometimes I do catch myself being like, I've got an ingenious concept for a VTuber. Do I make a new account, or do I just forget that I did this and get distracted by pretty lights? Usually it's the latter of that one. I've yet to make a new account. I think it'd be chill to do it. Am I the one running around choosing a question now?
Your turn.
You have the turn. Hands up, let's go! I'm gonna, you know what, you're right here. I'm gonna be lazy.
Do you have any like technical issues like during the live streaming or anything? Yeah, like, do you have any horror stories even?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god, the scuff is real, everybody. Do not be sad. I think scuff is part of being a VTuber. As I've been told many times, VTubing is streaming, but with extra steps and more to go wrong. So why not do that? It's an ingenious idea. What's your horror story, Hasha? Which one you picking?
The time that we were doing the Pokemon Soul Link together and my PC blue screened.
Oh my god, we lost 3
like,
hours.
3 hours of progress.
So that was a pretty great stream. I then just sat and played Duel Links next to him while he was redoing everything we'd just done in the Soul Link, because I was like, well, I pressed the save button. I don't have to redo it. I think the charity one, blowing my entire PC and then spending an 8-hour charity stream going, Mim, you're too pretty. Can you turn your graphics down? No one's asked me to be less pretty. Be less pretty, Mim. I need your quality to dip. Can you have less pixels, please?
Yeah.
That was pretty embarrassing. Working with a bunch of VTubers we'd never worked with before, and I was like, I need less pixels from you, please. And then I had to turn them on and off. And it's like, okay, it's like 400 people watching us being really hype, and I'm like, right, let me turn your browser source off. My PC's about to explode. All right, we're good. That was pretty horrific.
Yeah, technical difficulties, they just happen.
They do.
It's just a reality of like being a streamer. It can be something small that doesn't even get a reaction, like one of your assets is like locked and you're trying to move it, and then you go, oh, let me just unlock it and then I can move it, and people don't really notice. It can be something like, oh, your mic was muted for 10 seconds, and people are like, are you muted?
You know the
You
best
go,
thing?
yes, I was.
Yeah, audio
and you
issues.
just move past it.
Be ready for those though. Be ready for the fact that you will have an audio issue that is infuriating, that you can't hear and your chat aren't going to tell you. If you're going to be a streamer or any of that kind of thing, get ready for that. The amount of times I've gone to the end of a stream and they're like, oh, by the way, I know it's been 6 hours, but did you know you got like static on your microphone the whole way through? And I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks, bruh.
If you're watching a streamer, please tell us if the audio doesn't sound great. It's
Yeah.
so helpful.
It's a pain. Although the muting thing, I got a fancy mixer and I was like, yeah, I used to do radio, I'm going to be pog at this. And it's been about 3 months and I've still yet to do the cool fade where I fade the music and my voice in at the same time, and it's really cool as I fade out the old music. No, I've never hit that because I keep fucking muting myself to not be heard on stream. So every time I'm like, yeah! And then I come on stream and you can see my model doing all these happy things. No one can freaking hear me.
Yeah.
Bloody muted every time, I swear.
And then you can have, big crashes, or your internet can like blip out for a couple of minutes, and it really sucks when that happens because
It's a momentum kill.
yeah, it really does kill the momentum. You'll lose like viewers.
I don't know how it is, but your stream drops for like 2 seconds and suddenly like 50 people have left, and I'm like, it's like someone sneezed and you just walked away. You're like, no, not having any of that.
Yeah.
God damn it, the plague time.
But yeah,
But
technical difficulties.
Try not
just
to
happen.
panic through the scuff. This is just general advice when you're streaming or recording or anything. Like, try not to panic. Like, I can tell you that pretty much every stream I am running has scuff, and there's a bunch of stuff where I'm crying essentially in the background, trying to fix it, especially like the big streams we do, like charity ones, that always goes wrong. Something will always go wrong, and I'm just sat there being like, but on stream I'm like, oh yeah, it's really cool, you're dueling me, look at you go. Playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a great thing, because no one notices you dealing with scuff, because someone's doing like a 20-minute long combo. You got the time, you got the time. Guarantee you got the time. Alright, what time is it, by the way? How are we doing?
We have just under 15 minutes.
Alright, we got time for a few more questions then. That's the hands up again. I'm gonna go right the way over here, over to the cool blue cosplay. Hello, I'm very good at describing. I'm not used to people really being in front of me. I'm normally entertaining a screen.
I'm not normally blue.
Oh shit, really?
So, at the minute, I'm a facecam streamer. One of my big things that I stream is Just Dance. I have no idea, I've watched VTube for ages, but I don't know how to like be able to still Just Dance and VTube. Is there a way that like I could approach that in terms of like tracking and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, actually.
It
like, a lot
will
of
be
people use
expensive.
it.
You will need like full body tracking. Probably the only option is like a 3D model.
People use VR a lot, actually.
You can use VR, that's true. But again, you'll need a 3D model to import into VR. That's basically your only options.
Yeah, a
to do
VRM
that.
and some VR. It's doable. Like as long if you have a VR kit already, you're fine. You can make a VRM. Basically, which is just a VRoid. Go on VRoid and you could build up one. And that our friend does it all the time. They like to do tracking and whatnot. But it is doable. Like I'm always impressed when I see those ones. I'm kind of jealous because I'm 2D 90% of the time. So I'm kind of a little bit jealous when someone's got a hand and they can wave. Although we can wave in 2D now. They've made it so that you can actually have hand tracking with 2D models, which was, when I was deciding between a 3D model or a 2D model, was actually one of the deciding factors that I went through, because I was like, do I want hand tracking? Because you can buy pretty cheap hand tracking. Actually, what's the one that you use? Like Leap Motion?
Leap Motion, yeah.
Yeah, Leap Motion's like a little sensor, you can just kind of plug it in and it'll follow your hand movement so you can get movement going. Which is pretty nifty. But yeah, that was like one of the things I considered, because I went with Live 2D because I liked the artist's art style and I thought like they could bring my character to life the best. Because sometimes the 3D texturing can be sometimes a bit weird, especially original VRoid. Like the skin texturing just couldn't really have any contouring going on and that, and it was a bit weird how you had to figure it out. Like, but it's got a lot better. You know what? You guys have got a lot of options you can go into, unlike me with my hair horns. Yeah, hair horns. I look at my old model and I cry.
But yeah, totally possible. We know a lot of people that do exactly that. Either full body tracking or VR, like you said.
What I will say is network with VTubers. I know it can be hard to figure out in like conventions and stuff who a VTuber might be, but if there is one, like talk to them and they will network you through. Like our Discords and community groups are like really helpful. Because I wouldn't have a model if I hadn't met Hasha, because it's his friend that did my artwork and then his other friend that he introduced me to on stream that did my rigging. And so you kind of just end up passing it around and everyone will help each other out. Like the VTubing community is, at least the sides that I've seen, are very, very helpful. Like, don't be afraid to ask people for help. Like, even if it seems something really simple, like, you can just ask. Like, most of us will be like, yeah, let's talk about VTubing for like another hour and so, like, you know, we're really into it. Like, I like helping people. You like helping people?
Yeah, and there's tons of like YouTube videos and tutorials out there for pretty much like anything that you'd want to know. Like, you don't need to like be taken under the wing of another VTuber. You can.
Are you sure? I have great wings.
you can literally like go out and figure out most of the stuff yourself, because people have been very helpful and made some really good tutorials out there.
But I do think like being part of the community is one of the fun aspects of being a VTuber.
Yeah.
Like I think we have such a different dynamic on stream to like when we're IRL, because our characters like have a whole backstory together at this point of life. And it is very fun. Like VTuber collabs, don't think you have to do them if you VTube, by the way. Like, I know a lot of people put those as like high on their list of things to do. They're stressful as all heck, like, and very energy intensive. Like, it's funny coming from me, whose channel does collabs like pretty much consistently. I refuse to call them collabs. I basically am streaming and then someone comes in chat, I'm like, get on call and vibe with me, and then they're just sort of thrown in. Like that is how my streams work. I just throw people on stream, basically, how I do it. Do you want to pick the next question? Get up, run,
Yes.
run! Be a dino man! Let's go. You've got on that side of the room. Yo, we haven't been there. I'm not used to there being space. Again, PC screen, everything's just on a computer to me.
Do you ever get burnt out doing VTubing? And if you do, how do you manage it?
I think every creator will get a form of burnout. I think you just have to listen to when it's happening. Like, a lot of us push through it, and then that actually makes us kind of get worse. Taking time to yourself and taking a step away. There was a time recently where I just had to disappear for a week, and I literally went AWOL and just disappeared. I was like, yeah, I'm not this VTuber anymore, bye. I tend to try and notice when it's happening, because if you play like one game all the time, like I find that really quickly does it. Especially if you rely on that being your main content. I've been doing Master Duel since it came out, and like even I'm slowly being like, hey, do you guys remember Pokemon? I remember Pokemon. Pokemon's cool, let's play Pokemon. We're playing Pokemon now. I just tend to take it slow and notice the signs. Like there is a lot of signs where if you feel dispassionate towards something that you normally feel really enthusiastic to, that's usually a sign you need to break from that particular form of content.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll happen. Like with anything that you do in life, like you can get burnout. That's why vacations exist.
That's true.
Just take a break. If something's not like fun, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not your job. Like, I mean, you know, for some of us it is, but like I said, you need vacations, even if it's your job.
This is my vacation.
So the number one thing is recognizing that it's happening.
Yeah, and
And
people
just
are scared to stop
self-care.
streaming. Yeah, like just stop. People think if they go away for like a week, they're gonna come back to no viewers again. You might have a little bit of a dip. You might not. I went away for dual surgery, came back 2 weeks later, and my numbers had tripled. So, you know, sometimes people realize they miss you, and they're like, hello, welcome back, don't leave ever again. Found out I was leaving for SunnyCon, they got very sad. I was like, bye guys. But yeah, just don't be afraid to take breaks. And don't put pressure on yourself. Like, I'm gonna push this to the end of time. People put too much pressure on themselves. I also put too much pressure on myself. Don't think you have to do all these things and be like, I have to be like this person, these guys do all this stuff. Don't do it. Like, I know debuts and stuff, like you have like this checklist, you're like, I want this new set, I want this new like graphic, I want all these new alerts, I want all these new emotes. And you're like, but do you need them? That's really the question I've started asking myself. Do I need it, and what is the actual bare minimum I need? Because once you hit bare minimum, then you can go for the fancier stuff. But yeah, listen to your mind when it's telling you. Like if something is kind of boring to you now, or it's just making you kind of sad, take a break. It's okay to step away. Like sometimes it feels very weird. Like even being here for me feels very weird, because for the last year I've been, 4 or 5 times a week I've been this character on stream, and so now I know I'm literally being the character in person right now. But it's a very weird feeling being away, but you just kind of have to take it. Like I just go do nice things with my mum. That's my breaks. I'm like, Mum, we're going out to the seaside today. I'm a good daughter, really, I swear.
Barking supermarkets today.
Today we bark in supermarkets. Mum, there's a strange man at the door. Door, strange man, don't like him. And it was the carpet fitter. I was told off. I do bark at my mum a lot. It's a bit weird. I haven't barked this weekend other than just now. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
You're gonna find yourself doing it now.
I know.
You cursed yourself.
I'm not if you see. Alright, I think it was time for a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go, hamster, go. You went an awkward route. Hamster, I know there's space for us and it's still very confusing, but it's real.
So I've been streaming for like 6 or so months now. So how would you say like go about like the networking parts of things? Because I kind of don't really know.
I'm going to tell you the best way not to network here for my answer to this question, because this is always fun. So this is kind of a little bit of a don't do, but this is exactly how me and Hasha became friends and have been working with each other for over a year now. I was very excited when I went into his stream. He followed me on Twitter and I was like, who is this guy? I see him following a bunch of people. I want to know this guy. So I go on his Twitch and he's playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, wow, this guy's really knowledgeable on Yu-Gi-Oh! And cool, and I work with Konami. So I typed in his chat, I was like, hey, you really like Yu-Gi-Oh! You want to collab one day? Don't fucking do that. Don't do that. Don't ever go to someone's stream and your first few words be, want to collab?
Yeah, usually that's pretty bad manners.
No, that's alright for us, but I'm not really sure why.
It's so tough to like
yeah.
find like a community. Like where you can kind of like start like bouncing off of other people? Like, what do you do?
That kind of a stream which I in. I'm not like an anime VTuber, it's more like a spooky crazy skeleton thing. So I don't really think I fit in with like the whole like anime style of like.
You say that.
You would be surprised.
Yeah, you know, I straight away I go into mindless content creator called Poppy. He was a Lich King. He's skeleton, very cool. Love that guy.
We have a friend who is literally a very round raccoon. Like, you don't need to like feel like you have to fit in with like the aesthetic of like a group. Like,
surprisingly, I'm not a cute girl who can make fun noises and squeal at games. Who knew that? But I often felt that was the pressure of what to be, is it? I think my best advice when trying to network with people is you kind of just by being in a community, eventually like just being there because you genuinely like the content creator and you just talk in their community, you'll eventually kind of end up being friends with like the vast majority of the community, and that ends up like then cycling. I was in Poppy's community because I genuinely love this dude's energy. He is like one of the most hyperactive people I've ever met, and he's full energy for like 16-hour streams, and I have no idea how he does it, and I'm pretty sure he's not real sometimes because of it. But he's really, really good at it. And I was in his community for like 4 or 5 months, and then we worked on a project together because he just recognized me from being there and being super supportive. So I think just genuinely enjoying content and that, because Discord is such a big thing in content creation now. It's like, hey, come join the Discord. And you'd be surprised how active these things can be. Like even my mods from my Twitch streams now like have friends throughout all the other things and that. And I think we have our own little fan clubs now too. It's very weird. It's all progressing. So just kind of vibe. Don't be afraid to say hi to someone and be like, you know, hey, I like your content. And just something as simple as that can work. Sometimes you just gotta shoot your shot, you know? People can be really scared to talk to people. I get really disheartened when people go, I really wanted to message you, but I don't feel like I can. I'm like, the DMs are open, please say hello. Or just woof at me. Honestly, you could just woof at me and I'd reply at this point in my life. So I think just being around in communities and that is pretty much a really good step to doing it. And don't do what I did to Hasha. It won't work out too great, honestly.
Yeah, it's tough to navigate because like you want to be there for the right reasons. You don't want to be like seen as a clout chaser. You don't want to self-promote like too much because it kind of like gives off like the wrong energy. But if you're being genuine and like you're making friends, and that's just kind of how it happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I think so. And even if you're doing like live action, like I'm gonna call it live action. Okay, that's where my life's gone. Alrighty then. If you're doing like cam streaming and that, it's kind of the same thing. You just sort of vibe at people's things, especially if it's Twitch community. Twitch community is very much about vibing in each other's chats and having fun. But since we only have like a minute or so left, shall we give our final bits of advice on how to get into VTubing and whatnot? And of course, if you ever need help, genuinely, you can just send me a DM on Twitter or on Discord or whatever, and I'm happy to answer questions and help people out. I love helping people find it. But my advice is, genuinely going to sound a bit like Shia LaBeouf, but just do it. Just give it a go. Give it a try.
Start.
Yeah, just have a go at it. Stream what you want to stream. Create YouTube videos and whatever you want to do. Become a Twitter VTuber, and all you do is play with drama. I don't know.
Don't do that.
I'm not very good at Twitter. But yeah, literally, just do it. Just have fun with it. Don't give yourself pressure. Be whatever character you want to be. It does tend to evolve with you over time. I definitely know the character Miss Doom has evolved over time, as has obviously Hasha Brown. I remember the first model. I remember it well. It was in a video recently, that's why.
Oh yeah.
In our music covers. But I think that's pretty much all we get to say. So yeah, I think I want to do the really cool thing, which is also really lame slightly, but I would love if we can do a big giant selfie, because this is our first ever event as VTubers, and our first ever panel, so you've been our first ever crowd, which has been very exciting to have. So would you guys be all okay with us doing a big group ass selfie or picture? Hog in! I'm gonna get a phone. Because that's how this works. I'm not used to having to move to do things. Normally I press a button. If I press button one enough, you think it'll work? One! It didn't work. How do I do this? Jimmy, fix the problem. He's my mod, can you tell? Jimmy, real life mod, fix problem.
Just turn around and do the selfie.
Oh, just do like the concert thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, everyone, squinch the hell on it. Squinch like there's no tomorrow, there's no pandemic, apparently. We'll take that as that's one of you in it. Cool. Like on Twitter and whatnot. We have booths, so come say hi to us. But we do love you. We do hope you the best in all your VTubing journeys. But just freaking do it. Literally. Do I do the pose? What's the pose? Do it. Alright, thank you guys so much. I've been the Tom and Dr. Brown. Ash, we did it.